Hi, I want to make a video on truths and how some truths won't change no matter what you do. Obviously, we can obviously know that certain truths can't be changed, but some truths won't be changed from past to present to future. From the past to now, certain truths won't be changed, and making that distinction between truths that can't be changed and truths that can change from past to present to future. Certain truths will change. Certain aspects of certain truths will change. Say that something's blue and now it's red, but the fact that it was red is a truth that's from past, present to future that still existed. That's consistent regardless of the fact that it's no longer that state. So from past to future, something like it was red is now a fact. It was red in the past, and that's the only thing that matters. And it was red in the past, now it's blue, but just because it's changed, it was a temporary thing that existed. But as a thing that has existed in over the course of time, it's something that still was a character or aspect of something that existed. So it's still part of the existence. So therefore it was red, and therefore that's part of the past, present, future, something that has um, you can consider now. It's only a way of describing it. It was red as opposed to it is red. The red character, though, of the existence of something, to use that as an example, exists forever now, exists as part of the timeline of existence, and that's something that you can't change. Um, and there's obviously, it depends on how you word it. It was red, and now it's blue. It's a way of using words and ways that we can describe certain aspects and characters of things and how it's changed. And obviously it changes, therefore it's something, um, it's a temporary thing, but the description of its existence as existing as some point in time hasn't changed. And that's the thing that was a character of it before, and that's something that's existed, therefore it's part of the permanent existence, permanent point, permanent character of its existence is in it, the fact that it has happened, and it's part of the past, it's part of the history that has led up to a certain change that's happened, and it's led to obviously it goes back to the point that it means something because it leads to where we are now, even though it's something in the past, it means something because that's something, regardless of what we consider time and space and how things move forward and how it can change back to the way it was. Um, the change happened, something happened to cause a change, regardless of where it reverts back to. It's something that happened, and it's something that is a character of its existence, a character of reality and existence that's happened, and the change occurred, and therefore it's something that exists, um, regardless of the fact that it's changed and no longer that state. It did exist, and that history is existing, and not only on the effect that it has on the rest of existence leading forward, and even though it's part of the effect, it's part of that streamline of existence of the narrow AB way of chaotic mechanism, the AB chaotic mechanism, all these moving pieces moving in a certain predetermined path, even though we're not living in that path. We're living in the path, we just don't recognize it yet because we're still moving forward, and the path that's going to happen hasn't happened yet. Whatever's going to happen tomorrow, if there's a tomorrow, is something that's going to exist as a character from something previously happening, and that's previously happening has meaning because it's something that's leading up to a tomorrow, because it's based off the tomorrow. It's built upon a foundation of like Jenga towers. It's based on a previous event, and Jenga towers. It's based on a previous event, and it's all built upon the same foundation. It's brick upon brick upon brick. Building a large house or building any kind of structure, an infinite structure of constantly telling the person right next to in an infinite motel that you need to change rooms, kind of thing. It's built upon that infinite kind of thing where you're constantly moving forward. You're moving to the next room, and the person in front of you is moving to the next room, and it's built upon that like a foundation bricks, and it's all built upon the initial foundation in every single instance. But it's part of that foundation. That foundation is, even though it's built upon a previous um, cause and effect, which was caused by initial cause, or whatever you want to call the white space of some kind of initial cause that have existed and caused something to happen, is something um, that means something because it's part of that streamlined, chaotic mechanism. All these pieces moving and interacting is the chaos, and all the fact that it's going to happen a certain way is the deterministic mechanism that controls that chaos. and all these moving pieces as one, as a whole that exist in this one reality, because they're all pieces of this reality. And that's where it goes back to the fact that it's something that's, even though it's superficial in a way in how it interacts, it's something that means something anyway, because even though it's just a piece of the mechanism based on an initial cause, it has meaning because it had to go through that initial cause to get to another initial cause that's going through something else, and constantly. And the triviality comes in the fact that everything is just a cause and effect. It's all just another piece. It can't be necessarily cause to cause and effect, but it's built on the foundation. Something that's going to happen is based on the foundation of something else, and it means something because it's built upon the one piece that we're causing the cause and the circumstance of the change from red to blue. Say the person painting it is a cause. It exists, and it's something that means something because it's a transition that happened, even though it's based on an initial cause. It exists as a transition, and that means something that way. It just doesn't mean something because the transition exists in a different way. The transition exists because everything that is a part of the transition is considered another cause and effect. The next cause, the next effect is just another cause, and that almost trivializes the meaning of it, and that's where the whole triviality comes from. And that's where the whole point comes from. So I don't know if there's anything much else to add to this subject. It's very easy. It's a vague one, and it's just something I thought I want to touch upon before moving on. So it's a basic idea. There are permanent truths, and making that distinction between permanent truths and temporal truths, and how it's something, regardless of how long it lasts, it's part of the permanent string of existence of cause and effect and interaction that's happened, and it's part of the character that existed in something before is something that exists. It's just a way of describing who, what, when, where, why it did, using different ways of describing the certain circumstance or the certain way of describing a certain aspect of something that's existed. And obviously there's not much meaning behind that because it's just another interaction of description, but there is a way of mutually understanding, and the interaction exists, and it's about understanding, getting a point across to cause something else to happen. And that's what the meaning of words and describing things and making those distinctions come from. Just like making a distinction between a past, present, future, and how things change, and how things are permanent or not permanent, temporal or permanent, and how they change from past to present to future. And if there's anything else I want to add, I know this was a kind of vague as a kind of subject, but it's just something I thought I'd touch upon before. And I wrote down this list that I'm holding right now over a week ago, so I don't know if I necessarily got the point that made me want to initially make this video, but if I have to add anything, I could always add it in another video. So I hope I made my points clear enough. It's not as in-depth as some of the other videos I make, but not really in the mood to make any videos, and that's been a trend lately. I'm not in the mood to make videos, so if they don't seem as passionate, then sorry. I don't even know if they were passionate to begin with. Anyway, if it was incoherent, I apologize. I know no one likes incoherent videos, but it's a simple enough subject, and I'm sure that people get it easily enough. People can understand memory and cause and effect. I'm sure they can understand things like this. It's not a hard subject. So thank you, and until next time, if I have anything else to mention, I'll say it. So thank you, and goodbye.